Hey guys, we got a very special episode today. It's Black History Month, and I wanted to showcase some great Black creators out there. And in this episode, we have a creator that is just like making history right now. He was recently on the Today Show and was seen by millions of people, and now he's slumming it on our show because we got less than 1 million. Okay. His name is Bradshaw, and he has a comic book series called The Adventures of Jake Jetpulse. It's a comic book series of learning books for autistic children that was written from the perspective of a autistic child. Bradshaw is an amazing dad because he's using superheroes to help teach his son how to understand things. So you gotta check out this episode. It's an amazing episode. His journey of how he created this concept, and helping autistic children all over the world with this method. It's amazing. You gotta check it out. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are reviewing a book, a couple of books actually, the Jake Jetpulse books. Now, Ariana, you read chapter 1 of the Jake Jetpulse book. It's called, what's this called?
Diamina.
Yeah, Queen of the Goblin Hive. Okay, that's chapter 1. And there's another book called Friends Make
A Superhero Team.
Exactly, yes. And
this tells you about everyone and who they are.
Yeah, this book is mostly like a overview of who everyone is, and the story, all the villains, all the heroes. And, it gives you an overview of everything. That's what this book is about. But the other book, chapter 1, actually details the first story arc in the series.
Like their first adventure.
Yeah, in the series, yes. And there's like around 7 books in the series, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what you think the story was in the first chapter.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
So first, their friend Mars, which is a troll, he gets captured, and then when they find him, they run in to the bad guy, Diamina, Queen of the Goblin Hive, and her assistant, I don't remember the name. Marvin.
That's the assistant?
Yeah. It is also a troll.
Yeah. And all the trolls are from space.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like the art on the book?
It's cool. Not like I'll ever be able to do this, though.
I mean, nobody's expecting you to do that, no?
I mean, I can't do like any kind of anything close to this. Not really good at drawing.
I mean, you have to practice to get that good. Yes?
I know that Marv and Marvin are brothers, and the names almost sound the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a type of storyline that they do, the brothers, one's good, one's bad,
And I think at the end, when it shows a bad version of Jake Jetpulse, I think that is Jake Jetpulse's brother.
Oh, you think the cliffhanger at the end of the book is it shows like sort of an evil version of Jake. I don't know. Maybe it's like a Bizarro Jake, like how they have Bizarro Superman.
Or it could just be his brother, because it says sibling rivalry.
That's sibling rivalry.
No.
That means two brothers fighting each other. But I guess maybe they are brothers. I don't know.
Siblings fight?
You guys fight all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so you think the next storyline is basically Jake is going to be fighting his evil brother or something?
Yeah, that he never knew about.
His twin brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never knew about.
Okay.
But how does he have a darker version of himself?
Well, we don't know. We didn't read that book yet.
Did that person get painted black?
I don't know.
It's also another reason that I know that he probably never knew about the other bad version of him, because it's in the text. It says like it's me.
Yeah. It could be just like a clone or something.
But it says sibling in it.
Siblings are sort of like brothers. You know, in the Clone Wars, all of the clones are brothers.
Yeah, because sometimes they say brother.
Yeah.
And the Bad Batch of brothers and BFFs. And BFFs also brothers. We are also siblings. Huh?
Yeah. Well, it's cool that the main character is a kid, and just like you, right?
Yeah.
Don't you like when the superheroes are also kids?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool if they're like from Bangladesh. Or Guyana. Yeah. Because they're from Guyana.
Yeah, well, be happy with what you get, okay? Maybe when you grow up, you can write a superhero from where you came from, okay?
Okay. I know. The Geeky Dad.
No, that's me.
I can write about you.
If you want. So, what do you give Jake Jetpulse as a grade? Thumbs up?
Yes. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Okay. And you guys definitely want to check out the other books, right?
Yeah, it ends with a cliffhanger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think this book is for everybody, right?
Yep. Yeah. Because it teaches you about friends.
Yeah, it teaches you about friendship and good versus evil, right?
Huh?
Yeah?
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, make sure to check out Jake Jetpulse. And the writer of the book is Bradshaw. He also, draws the book. Yeah. And you say you love the way the art is done in the book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to take a long time to do it because, you have to do the writing. You got to put, editing and stuff.
Yeah. Guess what? Guess what, kids? Bradshaw is going to be on the show. I am going to be interviewing him. Can you believe that?
No. And you can also visit online www.jakejetpulse.com.
Whoa, good job. Yeah. So check him out online. And
or go to Jake Jetpulse or go to Jetpulse Studios.
Wow. Okay. Good job. Or listen to the rest of the episode because we have Bradshaw with us. And he's going to tell us how he came up with the story and everything about Jake that you can find out in this episode today. Kids, what do you think?
Thumbs up forever, and I love it.
Good job. All right. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm here today with writer and illustrator Bradshaw. Am I saying that name right, sir?
Yes, you are.
Okay. You have a great series of books called Jake Jetpulse. How many books have you done in total so far, sir?
Currently, we have 7 titles so far.
Whoa. Only got 2.
Yeah, I'll definitely send you the rest.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the kids really love the book. They're very intrigued about what's going to happen next. I got some pre-recorded questions that they had for you. So,
before we even do that, won't you tell people in your own words what the book is about?
Okay, well, Jake Jetpulse is a character that was that originates from my son's imagination. My son Jake, who the character is named after, was diagnosed with autism at 3.5, and it was superheroes was his special interest. And I could tell you that I spent a lot of money on costumes because he loved to dress up as the characters. Cosplay was really big. And when he was in school, all he ever wanted to talk about was superheroes. And the teachers, although like he has a great personality and very sociable, it was just really hard to help him understand the daily work because all he wanted to talk about was superheroes. And I found a really unique way to teach him by introducing art therapy techniques to help really the help find a way to communicate with him, to help him focus. I found a really cool art therapy exercise, which was draw yourself as a superhero. And this exercise was is developed to help teach children their positive traits. And from that point, Jake just took the ball and ran. And it was right up his alley. He started to create this superhero of himself. And he had this, and that's what opened up that whole world. There were other characters in his imagination. All of these heroes and villains that started to come out. And as we sat together and we would draw every day, I got to learn more about like this character that was in his head. So I took it upon myself to go to his teachers and said, hey, I think I found a way that we can get through to him. Instead of trying to discourage him from talking about superheroes, why don't we encourage it? I started to draw different images of Jake in different costumes. And then when I saw the one that he took to the most, that's when I started taking like the lessons from his teachers and started turning them into like small lesson plans, like flashcards in the beginning. So I would take the daily sight words the kids had for the week, and I would make these little cards with images of Jake and his characters that I interpreted. And he started to pick up on on the words, memorizing them. And then I would start to combine the words to make very like simple sentences, and he started to read along. So when I showed him to his teacher and the teacher showed him to the other kids, I really had no idea what I was doing because I was just trying to find a way to help Jake the best way I could. But the other kids, they loved the idea and they were like, "Oh wow, this is so cool. Do you have any more?" I'm like, "Well, I think I think I could do something." So I came home. I said, "Maybe I'll make a book." And then I made a small, like a really small book, maybe 10, 12 pages, a brief story. It's like those beginners readers that we used to read, like the Dick and Jane kind of books. And I did something like that along the within that area. And I took a handful of them. I gave them to Jake. I said, take these to school and give these to your friends. And then when I came to pick him up, and he was like, Dad, I had a book signing at school and I autographed all the books. I was like, wow, that's awesome. So the parents started asking me, they were like, wow, these are amazing. Like, do you have any more? I said to myself, I guess I can make another one. So then I talked to his teachers again. I was like, well, if they really love the books, can I get a little bit more of your schoolwork? And then I'll just interpret it. What I did is I took their lessons and then I incorporated like Jake's superheroes into the lessons, and all the kids just ate it up. So I really had no idea what I was doing. I just stepped into it. And from there it was like, wow, like my son really loves your book. Like we were looking forward to the next one. I'm like, wait, there's another one? I guess I'm gonna have to make another one then. So so but what's really great about the entire process is that it's Jake's characters. These are all from his imagination. I'm only interpreting it, and he is acting as my art director.
Right.
So he's pretty much the concept artist, and he gives me his concept and his idea, and I interpret it and translate it into what you see in the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, Jake, is this what is this what you're looking for? And he's like, oh, this is awesome, this is great. And that's when I know like I'm on to something. So he helps me with the storylines, helps put together the characters. And the characters, even though they don't look like people in his, in his life, their personalities and traits are, completely derived from people who were like a really big influence to him. So this was a way to like honor them, and also to help move the story forward, and to teach him about things like just the social issues, just teach him about like things like the learning lessons that we all teach our kids,
Right.
was a sharing or friendship. And these are easy ways for me to communicate by embracing his special interest and teaching him through superheroes.
Right. Right. Let me give you some questions that the kids had. This is from my daughter,
Mhm.
9 years old. Her name is Ariana. Okay. Let me know if you can hear it.
Uh-huh.
Here you go.
Why can Miranda only hear the shrive?
Oh, Miranda is a telepath. So that also will come out in the next issue. Well, you'll see more of her powers, that she has like a psychic ability to read minds, or to anticipate like certain events before they happen. So because of this, she's a mind reader, and the Shrive is complete. He's all energy encased in that, in that costume, in that uniform. She's the
Right.
only one that can really hear his thoughts.
Yeah, it kind of gave me that dynamic of like Cloak and Dagger, you know.
Yeah, I as a Star Wars fan, I've always loved like the Han Solo Chewbacca dynamic.
Ah, yes.
So I wanted to create something where it's like Chewbacca, even though we don't know what he's saying, like through his growls and grunts and the way how he emotes, you can pretty much understand, their conversation, even though you don't like really understand his language. So I thought it would be really cool also too to honor children on the autism spectrum who are nonverbal, giving them a
Right.
superhero who is also nonverbal, and she is a telepath. She can understand everything that he's saying or what he's feeling.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, this is her second question. Okay.
Okay.
How did Jake get his powers?
That is very cool. Wow, they really read it. That's awesome. Jake is Jake is actually okay, without getting too technical. Okay. And this is coming from a script coming from the script that we created for an animated cartoon that was going to happen. So what it was that we have the trolls and the trolls and the goblins were at war with each other for centuries on their planet. And the sorceress Avelia is one of a member of she's just one member of a council of guardians, or or watchers or observers who don't interfere with the intergalactic war
Right.
at that time. So they create what they do is that they create this sentient suit of armor. Okay. And since they're completely neutral and they're staying out of it, the armor chooses someone who is pure of heart to basically save the galaxy. But that suit of armor is basically it's the first troll king, basically, or the one troll that it chooses becomes the king of the planet Mastro, as it's called, where Mars the troll and the other trolls are from. So, oh wow, I don't even know why my phone is starting to ring right now. Okay. But but the I thought I silenced it already. But the funny. The crazy part is that the suit of armor was basically hidden away so that it was too powerful. And the Troll King said that no one should ever, harness this power ever again. So when the goblins do attack their planet, the trolls escape. The trolls escape, and they, and their civilization, or what remains of their civilization, crash lands in different points of of the universe, and a part of it lands on Earth with them. So as it goes is that since the armor is sentient, our scientists, they discover the wreckage of the alien ship, and they find that this thing is sentient. It thinks, it breathes, it thinks, it can speak, it has its own language, and it connects to the person who wears it. So Jake is actually Jake's powers is actually derived from that genetic, that same that same part of that sentient part of that armor, that we're able to infuse it into like a human. So it's a lot simpler than me explaining it, and I'm the one that wrote it, so it's but it the basically Jake is half alien,
Right.
like half alien, half human in
Right.
this story. So being that like he's the descendant of like these magical beings that existed before humans began, which is the key to it, unlocks the entire story from there.
Right. Is that in which book is that explained?
Well, that was actually going to be, that's I guess a little bit of a spoiler. I should have said that, but it's actually a lot of it is going to be explained in like the next part of the comic that's going to be.
Okay.
So but this was what we wrote into like the entire Bible of the series when it was put together. So, but it's really no secret, I should say, because this was what like Jake, these are from his own words as we put it together. It's gone through many incarnations, but that's the one that we've been sticking with over the last few years.
Okay. This is from my son, John. He's only 6 years old. Okay.
Oh, so awesome. Yeah.
How many more books are you planning to do?
I am going to do as many as I can. Like we're going to do, like, we're not going to stop doing these books. We're going to keep creating them. Even though that it's just me as the illustrator, and with Jake as the writer, we're going to do as many of them as we can possibly do.
You do the coloring and everything too, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I do all, the layouts, the coloring, the pencils, everything. So it does take a little longer than usual, but we do like to at least get like 3 or 4 titles out throughout the year.
Is this self-published or is this through a company?
Yeah, as a matter of, I guess if you want to call like Amazon or like the Kindle, the publishing, which is the service that I use to do like the binding and printing, but like that's pretty much the way that like the way that we put the books together. When we started doing this, I pretty much started with maybe $40 in my pocket to so it was really like a shoestring budget that we had to put this together. As a matter of fact, putting this together really was it was like really out of the blue. It was just something I just went for. So there really wasn't any planning. It was just go for it and see what happens. But that's the way how the books are sold on Amazon, and so anybody that purchases them, because since I don't have any physical stock, it made it a lot easier for people to order the books as opposed to me doing all of the mailing and keeping it very simple for the time being.
Right.
But it seems to keep working, so we haven't changed the format yet.
So how does that work really? Do they print out a certain amount, or do they do it by demand of each book? That
they do it by each order, I believe. So it's for each person that orders one, it's like print for I guess print for pay, if you call it. So if somebody purchases it, then it's printed and mailed, and mailed to the customer at that point. So I guess it just reduces the cost of having like stacks and stacks and like pallets sitting around. It makes it a lot easier to get them out. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I had a couple of comics that I wrote, and they print so much extra copies, and just there in a warehouse gathering dust.
Yeah.
You know?
If you can't see, like, this is a studio apartment, so
Yeah.
it would be very difficult to keep, the keep stacks of books. So I tried
Yeah.
to really to maintain the amount of space that I have. So this was the easiest way to go, because I was really worried the first time that we the first set of books that we did. I think they sent me 500 copies, and
Oh.
I had a lot of books, and I was like, how am I gonna get all of these out of here? How am I gonna move all of these? So it took a while, and then that's when I made the transition to doing it that way through Kindle instead.
Okay. Here's the last question from
Sure.
Glenn. All right.
Are you planning to do action figures?
I would love that. That is a dream of mine. As a matter of fact, that's something that this is the reason why, why Jake and I are doing this, because we envision those things. Play sets, action figures. I am a big fan of Saturday morning cartoons, and tell your son there was a time, I'm sure you have, that there was that time when we would sit in front of the TV with whatever cereal there was, and we would just sit there on Saturdays and watch cartoons, and I'm really influenced by that. So,
and after school too, as soon as you get like afternoon cartoons.
Oh man, I would run home, and I remember the entire cartoon block when I would run home. And I don't, if I get the order wrong, I remember it was Transformers, GI Joe, Voltron, and then I would start doing my work at that
Sometimes
point.
Thundercats.
Yes, Thundercats was one. I mean, the Thundercats was my favorite, and I used to love hunting down the toys. So like Thundercats was one. I remember Silverhawks I got into for a minute.
Yeah.
We used to watch Mask. I remember that.
Oh yes, Mask.
The transforming cars, and so I would run home and just like watch cartoons. Everything was cartoon. And then there was that one store that I would see that would they had comic books and other magazines like Starlog and Fangoria, but in the back they would have like the action figures. And I mean that's my dream, to actually one day see like an action figure. I'm still interested in like 3D printing to figure out like how I can make my own, or and it's just something that I enjoy doing. It's my motivation to do these the like doing these books, to one day see kids dressed up as Jake's character for Halloween, or kids playing with this action figure. So that's the motivation that we have to keep going, because like it's just it's not a matter of if, we just like to think it's a matter of when. At some point in time, it's gonna click, it's gonna resonate with people. So I hope there's action figures. You can tell them, like one day I hope they're action figures. Oh, I have something to show him too. So I'll send it to you afterwards, because I did have that dream about making action figures. So I actually drew my own action figure package of what I would think it would look like. So I would love to see what what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I see you doing a coloring book.
Yeah.
Did that already, or is that coming up?
No, that's out already. As a matter of fact, we wanted to I went in reverse. In the beginning I started helping Jake out with his schoolwork. So a lot of the books were basically influenced by like reading, math, reading comprehension. There were puzzles and comic and coloring pages in the book. And that was basically to help Jake and his friends and his classmates. And I remember, I think it was sometime last year, I said to myself, we really haven't done any world building for this character to really explain the universe that Jake exists in. So let's start doing the comic series and let's see where it goes. And a friend of mine had mentioned to me also, have you ever thought of doing children's books? And I was like, well, okay. So we did a children's book that was released like right around the holidays. and I figured this would be two good ways to not only to for children of different ages to really enjoy the character. So we have like the younger, the younger set of children, like your son's age, like around like 6, like 6 years old, and they'll really like get a glimpse of the character, and then we can tell like more action like stories in the comic book, so they can see all the action and learn more about the character. So that's where we're going, like doing the both of those. So though both of those books are out.
It's cool. You ever thought about maybe like a video game?
I wish Jake was here and like he would tell you. Like there's a drawing that he did. Like he actually has his imaginary video game company called what does he call it? It's called it's called Jetpulse Games or something like that. And he makes his own logo, and he'll copy the way how like the PlayStation the packages look for the games. So he has a little rated E for everyone in the corner. Like he really goes all out. So yeah, he's really into the video games. That we started the merchandising for him also. That was his idea, to have like his own t-shirts and hoodies and cell phone cases and stuff. So it's so yeah, we've thought about like video games, we've thought about like animated cartoons. I mean, we have the like, as a matter of fact, we have scripts for at least 5 or 6 episodes with a 13 episode synopsis just ready to go if somebody's interested. So we did a lot of planning, because we really shot for, we really shot for the rafters, and that point we're like really swinging, and we were saying to ourselves, it's like, okay, we can be just as popular as Batman or Superman, or I mean, we can I'm confident in this character and the characters that we created, that we can that we can reach that level with this. It's just a matter of how badly do we want it.
Right.
And I know Jake is all in, and I've spent the last 5 years, making sure that like his dream comes true. Actually, the both of ours in a way. So yeah, video games was something that we've always thought about. That would be fantastic.
Right. One difficulty I had with was with I was trying to explain to my little kid what autism was, and it was hard to like do a simplified version of that to make him understand. It took a while, but I got him to understand what it was. But how would you approach that to a little child that doesn't know what autism is?
Well, there's a few things that we tried. The one method, which is in our comic that you have, it's you'll see that autism isn't explained, but some of the symptoms are.
Right.
And we left it to interpretation for the reader, because we didn't want to just blatantly say he's got autism. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to make it a part of their personalities. For instance, there's this where Julia is talking to Miranda, but she's not looking at her in the eyes. And she's not very comfortable, or the disruption in routine when she's told you need to step up and help Jake, and it's like, I can't lead, I don't know what to lead, like he's the one that does it, like I'm usually this, and she's comfortable in that routine. So any disruption with it creates that kind of that discord, like, oh my god, what am I going to do? So we found that way of really highlighting those as personality traits without really like outwardly addressing it, which helps like kids understand, because we found that it made the characters more relatable in a way, because I've had I get emails from parents from all over, and kids who are like, my brother is like, my brother is like Julia, and they kind of get it now. They kind
Right.
of understand why, why she's like that, or why their brother does this. When Jake's headphones are disrupted and he loses control of like his energy, like the energy blasts, um that's our explanation for sensory processing disorder. Like the in real life, Jake wears headphones because he does has a sensory processing disorder where loud or abrupt sounds, it bothers him. He'll clench his ears. He doesn't like certain sounds; they're very displeasing to him. And he was embarrassed by the headphones by wearing them because he felt like kids would make fun of him. So I incorporated the headphones as a part of his uniform, with an explanation that it harnesses his energy, so it helps him focus, almost like how Cyclops, like his ruby quartz glasses,
Right.
like helps him focus his beams. In the same sense, this is auditory, so it helps him, like focus. And when that's disrupted, that's when, like Jake's powers are just like all over the place. So we wrote it in a sense, in the comic, like that's why this happened. So parents told me that it's a very unique way of explaining like sensory disorders, like when they, when their child hears like a siren, or like the sound of flowing water from a sink, and it bothers them. So
Right.
yeah, this was a way how we, also by doing that, it opens up like communication, like it makes it easier to have the conversation with a child about it. Like
Mhm.
because now they can relate to the superhero and say, okay, now I understand.
Right. Right.
Now I see why.
Have you contacted like autism organizations and see if you can get them to distribute the book to these organizations to other kids?
I've introduced myself to autism organizations, but that is something I really didn't think of. So that's great. Probably I'd love to talk to you more about that. The the We've worked with a lot of different people, which was one of the really cool things about this project, about like doing this, like creating these books. I've met with a lot of people from, even from like AMC movie theaters to even like the Alamo Draft House, like reaching out to them about their sensory friendly films. And one of our
Mhm.
ideas that we were thinking of, we're holding like group movie nights where children can come and sit and enjoy sensory friendly films, which are basically, it's like it's a judgment free zone. The lights aren't turned down as low, the sound isn't as loud, and it's just the kids can comfortably sit and watch the movies. And if they don't want to sit down, they can move around and nobody's going to say anything. And they usually have like designated times that these movie theaters hold these events. But because of COVID, this was something that we held off on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was something that that we wanted to do in the beginning, was at least like host these events and bring them out. I've contacted another phenomenal company, which is Angel Sense, that I did a my first foray into like YouTube videos. I did a product review for a wearable GPS unit.
Oh yes.
And it was really great. And we did an entire product review, and we were on board the Intrepid at the time. And it was really great because I did it all in real time. I actually told Jake and my mom, who was with us at the time, to like, seriously, go get lost and let's see if
Right.
I can actually find you. And we just recorded the entire event. So as a matter of fact, I reached out to them not too long ago to do another product review. So these are some of the things that we're doing to help out the community. And on our website, you'll also notice that there's an autism database, and that was that all that information was correlated from, well, I wrote it, but it's a lot of the information is from Jake's therapist and the psychologist that work with him, the speech therapists and like occupational therapists. So we put a lot of that information together, and
Right.
it's like, so um wherever we feel that wherever we feel that people will actually benefit from that, from that information, we love working with them. But we've reached out to like the National Autism Association.
Yeah, I would think.
uh
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it's like we just wanted them to know that this, that this hero exists. We wanted to
Yeah.
create something that
It
is
could help
more
a
than
lot of
a
kids.
novel.
Yeah.
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 So that's what we wanted to do, was create you know create like a character that relates to us all. I mean, it's easy
Right.
for us to draw like the broad-shouldered, square-jawed character,
Exactly. Yeah.
but I think the reason why kids love Jake Jetpulse so much is because he's just a kid. He's just like,
Exactly.
they're all kids, and it's easy to like attach yourself to
To
an
relate to them.
11-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes it even more fun to draw, because it can the bickering and the bantering that kids do, the
Mhm.
dialogue that they have, it's, it feels real. And especially when they're coming from a place that's familiar to other children. Like Jake grew up in Brooklyn, so that's the
Mhm.
reason why a lot of like the backgrounds, like the artwork is familiar, like places in the neighborhoods and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Um, let's talk about you a little bit. Like, where'd you learn your art from? Did you just self-taught yourself? Did you go to school?
I guess you'd say I was self-taught. Like, I remember my parents would tell me that I was drawing ever since I was old enough to hold a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of it was natural talent, the rest of it I kind of taught myself. When I was I believe, I forgot how old I was, but one birthday my dad bought me How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan.
Oh yes, yes.
That was my Bible. I mean, I did not put that book down. I learned everything I could from it. And the other one was, my mom had a medical encyclopedia,
Uh-huh.
and I would sit there and
Oh,
draw skeletons and
for
the
the
muscle.
anatomy stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I did that for a long time. And I remember I was sitting on the train with my mom. I think I was maybe 13 years old, and I remember there was a girl that was sketching, and the entire page was nothing but hands and
Mm-hmm.
fingers, and I'm like, why are you just drawing hands? And then when I was talking to her, she was like, it's to, you know, a lot of expression is in the hands. It's like, when
Yeah,
people
yeah.
speak, and to really, like emote and get like emotions, drawing the hands and facial expressions. So I took that, and that's the first thing I did. I don't know how many sheets of paper I went through. I would just sit there, put my headphones on, listen to my music, and I'd start drawing and drawing, and I wouldn't come out of my room and until I at least dedicated it like at least 2 hours. So honestly, I would say that I'm 48 now. So from the time I was about 13, 14 years old, I dedicated at least 3 hours a day, every day, just drawing.
So before this book, did you get anything published before, or?
No, not at all. I actually, the first, okay, the first art project that I had was, it was a hip hop CD,
Mm-hmm.
and it was called The Iron Helmet. And this was a guy that my friend introduced me to, who was really influenced with like sci-fi and kung fu movies. And it was a really like an incredible blend of the two genres. But he had created this entire backstory for this character. It's like his onstage persona, where he wears like this mask or this samurai type helmet. And I helped him put together this story. And I created, I think it was maybe 10, I can't remember how many panels, but it was just something to introduce the character that would go into the sleeves of the CD and stuff. And so that was the first like art project I've ever done. Right.
Wow.
Um, before that, I was a technical writer and like illustrator. I was making instruction manuals for Bluetooth speakers and
Wow. Wow.
like headphones or like for tablets and stuff.
And you
So
didn't have any like professional study in art or anything like that.
no, none. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I didn't get into SVA. I couldn't afford to get into Parsons. I couldn't afford to get into any of those schools. So what I did is that like I would like later on I would find like the syllabus.
Ah,
Um,
ah.
and then I had a friend who actually went to the school, and I would make copies of whatever lessons he had.
Yeah, I actually went to SVA.
Awesome. I mean, I
Yeah.
really wanted to go to that school
It was
badly.
a lot of life drawing classes, a lot of nude models.
Yeah, I did
Sizes.
that. My mom put me in this really cool art class at Pratt when I was 14 at Pratt Institute, and I remember I did that for like 2 years, and that was the first time I ever seen a nude woman, and
Mhm.
I think I chuckled throughout the whole thing. I'm
Wow,
14.
wow.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, looking at your
it's
art,
great.
I would have thought that you took like a lot of classes in anatomy and life drawing classes, because you give a lot of realism in the way you draw the pictures, you know,
Thank
and
thank you so much.
you know the fact that you didn't have any training whatsoever, you're pretty much a prodigy yourself.
Thank you. That means a lot to me, really. I think you're the first person that ever said that. Thank you so much. Um, it just comes from
Coming from
our.
another artist, that's why I can say that, because I know how hard it is to draw like something realistic, and I really think you did a really good job.
Yeah, thank you so much. And a lot of it came from studying old photographs.
Hmm.
And now that we have our cell phones have incredible cameras on them,
Yes.
I'm able to do like really good reference photos. So
Hmm.
what I do sometimes is that I make my friends yell. I make my friends like laugh. And I love being able like to see like the musculature, like just like the creases, the lines, like when a person genuinely smiles or when they yell.
Hmm.
Another thing that I developed also was to and I forgot where I learned this from. I think it was in an art history class like years ago. That I used color to also uh to punctuate the like whatever emotion. So
Right.
I use a lot of like instead of like the picture being completely red, I would use like a dominant like certain elements of like red or like something along that to accentuate like this person is mad or
Right.
like a somber scene using different colors. So sometimes if you notice in the book, some panels have a bright color to them, some of them don't,
Mhm.
to really get that tense feeling in there. And so
You learned the
yeah,
digital coloring all yourself too?
yes, yeah.
Wow.
I it was just something to help me the help me speed the process along. I uh actually it was a gift from my dad. He purchased a Wacom a drawing tablet,
Hmm.
and I think like the moment I finally like my hands got used to holding the pen, like I never looked back. And this has been like the way I've drawn everything now. So like most of the books have been all digital. So I draw everything in Adobe Illustrator.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Wow. Wow. Good job. Um, I was gonna ask you, do you have any intentions or dream of doing any work for maybe, Marvel, DC, or any other company?
That's always been my dream. Oh man, like I think every artist somewhere along the way has like a black book somewhere.
Yes.
Like those old black books I used to get from Pearl Paints. They used to have
Yes.
those black books, and
I have some too. Yes.
Yeah, I have I remember in high school I drew out the 12 pages of the Wolverine versus Venom.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
and and I remember a friend of mine saying like, "Yeah, you should try out for Marvel. You should try out for DC." And I would send them like whatever whenever they would have tryouts. So I would have letters coming back like, hey, we appreciate your submission, but better
Yeah.
luck next
Yeah.
time, you know. And I was like, oh man. So I said to myself, I'm like, it's not going to stop me from being a comic book artist. I'm going to do this one day. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it.
The
But
closest I ever got was I got an interview in the office of Marvel. I walked inside the offices of Marvel, and that was probably the best day of my life, even though I never got the job.
what was that like, man?
Oh my God,
what
it was
is it like?
the greatest. It was a bullpen right there, right in Manhattan,
No way.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah,
like,
back in the
wow.
late 90s.
Oh my. Like I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's sad that they don't have nothing there no more now.
Yeah. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if that were me. I wouldn't know what to do. And you know what I also love doing too? I like picking the brains of the artists. Like when I go, when I went to Comic-Con, like they have Artist Alley, and I would go there and like really look at some of the work. I mean, I really admire people's work. I'm never the type that gets jealous, like I could do better than that.
Right.
I mean, I'm not one of those people, but I love looking at other people's work. It's like amazing stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, why aren't you guys working for it? And then it took me a while to realize, yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard. It's difficult. Yeah. So
by the way, have you ever had a table at Comic-Con?
No, but the interesting thing is I did a virtual panel just recently. Actually, this was this was just a few months ago that we did a virtual panel for San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh,
and which was really awesome. I've never had a table at New York Comic-Con, but what was the name of that one again? We did there was the Black Comics Expo that was in Harlem.
Oh yes,
right. And that was one of that
was
like
that the blurred con?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And that was the first one. That was the first comic convention that I've ever had a table, and it was nuts because I remember getting the email saying, hey, do you want to attend? And I was really on the fence because I'm like, I don't know how to, what am I going to do?
Right.
And I remember like we only had a limited amount of books, and we stacked everything in the car, ran,
right.
As soon as we got there, and to set up the table, and hindsight is 2020. Like within like 2 or 3 hours, we wound up selling out like everything.
Right.
And it was amazing. So like when all the books were gone, we only had like the 3 samples, like the 3 sample books at the time for people to read, and we just had like a clipboard so that everybody could leave their email address.
Yes. Yes.
On a laptop, so we can create a mailing list.
Yeah, you got it down packed. Yes, that's how I do it too.
Yeah, and it was crazy because it was like we had no books left. It was just like, wow. I mean, they really like it, and I think that's what it is. It's that like, when I see other people enjoying the work, it's like that really makes my day. It makes me feel good, and also gives me ammunition. So when Jake says that he can't, I can be like, well, look at your old man. I made this from nothing, and we did this. You can do it too. So yeah, at least I can say that.
Have you ever gone to the Brooklyn Comic-Con? I know they're doing one.
No, I did miss that one. I can't remember what the reason was. I think it was another another engagement that we were committed to.
Have you done Comic-Cons anywhere else besides New York, or?
No, that was it. That was it was the virtual the virtual panel at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm trying to think of any other ones that we did.
There's one in Long Island I usually do. It's a really nice one.
Yeah, I would really love to be invited to more. I would like we had so much fun when it was a lot of fun. I would love to do it again. Now that I know what to expect, I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot, there's a lot more that we could do. So I would love to participate in the future, in more events.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's hard because of COVID. You don't want to be around people, but
Yeah.
back when there was no COVID, I used to do all over the place. Long Island, Staten Island, Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen the prices for some of the tables at New York Comic Con? It's
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
steep, pretty steep.
Yeah.
You have to sell out, or else you won't make any money at all.
I know. It's
And a lot of people don't sell out. So I always wonder, wow, what's going to happen to all these folks that did not sell?
Oh man, I mean that I guess that's my fear. And to be honest with you, I mean when we created this, I really didn't think it would get this far.
Right.
I really didn't. So when we started getting the invites, when we started getting the podcast interviews, the interview on the Today Show, we were just shocked.
How did that come about, by the way? Did a reporter just find you, or did?
Yes, what I was told, it was like they actually, I guess they were searching for someone along those topics because it was Autism Awareness Month, and we just happened to be fortunate, like the stars aligned, and that was probably one of the best things that definitely was like the best thing that happened to us at that time, because it introduced us to so many, really it introduced Jake Jetpulse to like everyone.
Yeah,
I remember
that's millions of eyes right there.
Yeah, I remember that morning I couldn't even look at the television when the interview was playing. I was there's something about the sound of your own makes you it makes you cringe. Like I really sound like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I refused to look at it, and I remember as the segment was playing, my notifications were blinging out of control for how many site visits I was receiving, and I was amazed. I was like, I can't, I shouldn't be shocked because this is what I wanted. I wanted the world to see this. So, after a while, you can't help but get a little misty-eyed. It's like watching your kids doing something for the first time. So it's like I remember like looking at Jake, and he's like, I'm on TV, and I think that was, I think that's when I was like, I definitely have to keep going. That this really day. This was, this is something he can talk about for the rest of his life.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So that was great, that we got to meet you today and got to talk to you and talk about your book. We are gonna leave a lot of information on our info in the bottom of the podcast, where you can buy all the books, your website, and also you're gonna see our review on YouTube as well. So I hope you check out Jet Impulse. No, I said it wrong. Jake Jetpulse. That's what. Yeah, and you can pick it up everywhere at Amazon. Thank you very much.
Just because the show ends doesn't mean the fun has to end. We're now on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you like about the show. Tell us what you don't like about the show. Help us. We want to work together with you. So, check us out.